Welcome to the show where we talk about our favorite live streaming software. If you're at a level 3 or 4, you can use vMix, and Tim from vMix is going to join us here in just a minute, and I am so thrilled to have him on here. He's all the way from Australia. I tried to get him on at our normal time, but he said it's 3 a.m. for me, and we said no, that's okay, you can sleep in. So we're going to answer all your questions, well, as many as we can. I know that everybody has a lot of questions, but we're going to talk about the benefits of vMix, the things that you need to think about, the capabilities that it has. And there's so many questions that come our way all the time about vMix. We wanted to give you a chance to just dig in here, okay? So that is what we are doing today. Now, let's set this up real quick for anybody watching this who is new or not heard about the 4 levels of live streaming. Do me a favor, type new in the comments. I want to give you a special shout out. But for everybody to know exactly what we're talking about when I talk about a level of live video. Level 1 is your phone. So going live from your phone, and maybe you add some gear to it as well. Level 2 is going live from the browser on your computer. So going to like facebook.com. And then level 3 is using software downloaded on your computer. Most likely it's your laptop that you use for everything else, which can cause some problems. So, but like Ecamm on the Mac, or vMix on the PC, or even some of you use Wirecast, right? So that's a level 3. And then level 4 is a dedicated PC using vMix and vMix only. That's what it takes to be level 4. And then also it's TV quality, right? Like you have extra gear. You are also strategically using your live videos in a complete marketing strategy. So that is what the 4 levels of live streaming are. With vMix, this software is our favorite that we've used just because of the capabilities and the options that you have, the growth that you can do. So we're going to dive into a lot of that today. Now, I want you to know that it is a level 3 or a level 4. So not level 2, not level 1. All right. So if you have questions, bring them on. If you have comments, bring them on. What level are you? Let us know in the comments. Type your level of live stream in the comments. Now, real quick maintenance thing. Philip, can I get a refresh of social, please? vMix social, which allows us to bring your comments on screen. So you guys will see that here in just a second. Okay, let's see. We have Anne says, looks like you had a cup of coffee. I'm a little excited. All right, let's bring Tim from vMix on. Welcome.
Hello, thanks for having me on the show today.
Wait a second.
You can't hear me?
Are you in here in studio? Because you're on David's set.
Yeah. It's just a short walk across the studio. I know we're playing it up. I'm from Australia and all that, but yeah, no, thanks for having me in the studio today. I really appreciate it. It's a beautiful set here, and yeah, it's great to be here all the way in Camas.
Oh yes, that's where we are. Camas, as he likes to say it, Washington.
No, that's the proper way to say it. We've been over this. That is the correct way to say it.
Yeah, so that's how GPS says it, isn't it? Okay.
That's how the Uber driver says it too.
Oh, that's how the Uber driver, yes. That's right. I forgot about that. Okay. So we've got lots of questions already coming in. So let's back it up. Let's talk at a brief level, like overview level, about what vMix is. So describe what vMix is at the most basic level.
Yeah, so vMix is software that you can install to a PC that will allow you to create a live video production. So that's kind of the basics of it. And having a live video production includes elements like images, videos, titles, cameras, content from social media, PowerPoint slides, websites. Pretty much anything you can think of, you can kind of add to a live video production, mix it all together, hence the vMix, like video mix all the elements together, and then you can stream it out to the world, you can record it, You can put it onto a big screen. You can display it locally if you're having a conference or something like that. So it's kind of like a Swiss Army knife of video production for live events and that type of thing.
Swiss Army knife, I like that. And it is beautiful because you can do a lot of live video, but what our clients often find and our students often find is that once they get set up with a live streaming software, with vMix on level 4, they actually wind up using it for recorded video and for other things. And it's quite a robust system to be able to save you money on post production as well, because you can do this, all yourself live to drive, as we like to say, right? Amy says, I'm a proud level 4 vMix producer. Love vMix so much. Okay, so let's talk about the fact that, this is a robust software. It is, we love it. And you're on level 4 because we have used almost every software out there already, and we find this to be the most stable software. And so we'll talk a little bit more in depth about that. But let's get the elephant in the room out of the way, Tim.
There's no elephants in here. As you know, we're in the same studio. There's no elephants here.
Okay, let's get the banana out of the room.
Sure.
That was your cue. That was your cue to put up the banana.
Oh, well, I figured it was a cue, but I didn't want to play up to the cue. Playing up to the cue makes the cue, it puts the pressure back onto the host as to why they're talking about bananas. So I'll let it sit for a while, and then we'll get back to it. How's that sound?
Okay, fair enough. You guys just beware. Just beware of the banana. It is PC only, so we have to talk about this. It is PC only. Are you ever going to bring it to the Mac?
I mean, that's a question that we do get a lot. And I mean, people might say, oh, it's, you've just made a decision not to do this, you hate this or you don't like this and that type of thing. But working within the parameters of computers and graphics and encoding and processing and all that kind of stuff that you need for live video production, we found that a Windows-based solution is the best for live video and encoding and processing. Now, that's not to say that Macs aren't great for post-production and editing and a million other different things. It's just that the video encoding isn't quite there on Mac. It's much better on Windows. So vMix uses the GPU for a lot of the processing and hardware encoding for streaming and recording. And due to the fact that a lot of the AAA games that you see, on the internet, people playing games on Twitch and, that kind of thing, all of that stuff is heavily focused towards Windows gaming. Like, there's not too many people. I don't know, a lot of the games aren't available on Mac, but yeah, most of the gaming industry is focused towards Windows, which means that we as a company in turn can use all those awesome advancements in GPU and graphic processing with vMix and live encoding. So that's kind of where we're at in the whole, why we use Windows and that type of thing. So that's the basics of it. I'm sure people might disagree, but for live video encoding that we do with vMix, Windows is the way to go for us. So that's my explanation. I have a longer one, but we probably don't have enough time, and I'm sure you'll get a lot more comments than you can probably handle as to the whole Mac versus PC thing.
And I think this is it's an important topic to be discussing, like, right up front, because so many people are like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, I've got a Mac, I want to just use my Mac. But through many years of being in the live video business, and if you look at any traditional streaming TV stations, right? Like, they are all PC based, not just because PC used to be the thing, because it is the better processing, right? It's able to process that better. And so, Tim, your software, the vMix software, you mentioned you use the graphics card and stuff. Can you dive a little bit deeper into the usage of the graphics card versus the usage of CPU, which is a lot of softwares for live video? Does that make sense? Does that question make sense?
So with the kind of the later NVIDIA graphics cards, it allows you to actually perform hardware encodes of a stream or a record directly on the graphics card. So with NVIDIA cards like a 10 series and even some of the later 9 series NVIDIA cards, you can actually throw an entire encode onto the card itself as opposed to using the CPU. So if you've got, say, like traditionally when people do a stream, I mean, it's slightly different if you're doing some sort of simulcasting to multiple streaming destinations from your PC itself. But say you're recording your production, mainly to do some post-production on it, or perhaps upload to somewhere like YouTube or Vimeo, and you're doing a stream as well at the same time, you can actually offload all of that encoding to the graphics card instead of using the CPU, which frees up a lot more stuff for the CPU to do, and will stop any sort of major issues with the CPU. Like if you hit a certain point in the CPU, you're going to have render issues and that type of thing. But yeah, for the specific hardware and so for the encodes for the streaming and recording can be actually offloaded onto the graphics card. And if you go into the vMix settings for streaming and recording, little tick box that says use hardware encoder. So you can use 2 of those hardware encodes on a dedicated graphics card. And some of the video processing and stuff as well is also done on the graphics card as well. So yeah, a lot of the processing from vMix is handled on the GPU as opposed to using the CPU.
And I think that that is one of the reasons that we love the stability of it so much is that it's not using that CPU. And let me just get real clear here. When he mentioned that when your CPU hits a certain percentage, you start seeing problems, and you can actually see your CPU usage on your computer, and you can see what's happening. Now, before we started this interview, we actually had an issue that Windows started updating because, oops, we didn't turn off automatic updates. And our CPU went like to 92%, right? And that's what happens. And we had to kill the entire stream. We had to start a fresh stream entirely, right? And that's what happens. That's why it's important to use the GPU rather than the CPU, because every time you hit not 90, but like even like 60, we've seen 50, 60%, it can start causing really bad issues. So and you may just lose your stream entirely, which we did right before this stream because of Windows updates. So thanks, Windows. And honestly, sometimes like you're like, well, if I don't want to go to a PC if I have to deal with that, but you can turn those Windows updates off, the automatic ones at least. Okay. So we talked about the PC versus Mac thing. If you guys have additional questions about that, let us know. But let's talk about vMix capabilities and some of the things that I love about this. Obviously, you can do the traditional software. You can do the graphics on screen. You can do the pip, like with this. Nice timing there, Philip. And you can add lower thirds, and you can do all of this stuff. But lower thirds. But one of the things that I love the most is this vMix Social, which allows us to bring comments both from YouTube and Facebook. And yes, these are lower thirds. These are comments from vMix Social, which is something you can get in vMix. And so talk to me a little bit about vMix Social. So before we move on to other capabilities. So, the fact, I'll
Sure.
let you talk.
Yeah, so I mean, we had a lot of people. This is probably going back. vMix Social's been around for 2 or 3 years now. I kind of lose track. Once you bring out a feature, you're like, okay, let's move on to the next thing. It's not like we don't update it. Like we added Instagram support, we've added YouTube support. So yeah, but I kind of forget when we start these things.
That's fair enough.
We actually create websites when we add features. Like I think, how long has vMix supported social media integration.org is the website, which actually has a counter on how long we've been doing it for. It's been a while, I don't remember. But anyway, so vMix Social, we had a lot of people that said, hey, I want to start interacting. I want to engage with my audience. And as you know, as you've probably heard, if you've watched David or Loria, Apparently, engagement is a big deal when it comes to video. I don't know, but apparently, according to them, it's a big deal. So yeah, being able to bring in those comments. So basically, it's a standalone program that you can open up directly from vMix, or you can go to Windows and search for it. And it's just a little interface that allows you to log into Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, depending on what platform you're going to. And then you can create your own search. So you can search for a particular, like a hashtag, or you can grab content from, say, Facebook on one of your posts, like one of the live streaming pros or your personal one. And then you can select that post, and then you can start seeing those comments coming in. Now, the comments can be viewed on a web browser. So the web browser connects up to the local network and connects to vMix. So you can do it yourself. Like when we do our live show, I sit here with a cheap tablet and I just throw stuff across to the show. But obviously you can have a producer doing it, or you could even have someone sitting in a lounge chair, or someone sitting in the chair behind me in my wonderful studio today on a tablet or a laptop or any computer that's connected to the local network. They open up the browser address, and then they can start bringing in comments from Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. So it gives you that direct interaction with your customers, friends, patrons, whoever you've got watching your show. It's just an easy way to ask questions. Like when we do our shows, we throw it out there and say, you can ask questions before the show, and you might not get many comments, but in the heat of the moment when people are watching the show, they're like, oh, I've got a burning question I need to know the answer to. And so they're like, get on Facebook, and they send through stuff, and then we can see it instantly and we can send it over. So it's just a really good way to keep that engagement there.
Yeah, it's so important. That engagement is absolutely important. As we discussed, it is one of the, it is the way that you tell Facebook, I'm worth more reach. I'm worth being seen in people's news feeds because I get engagement. And when people see that you care about them because you're putting them up on screen, you're actually discussing them, you're talking to them, they love that, right? You guys love that, right? Let me know, yes or no. Do you like that in the comments? You like when you see your comments coming up on screen, like Christy? And I am actually controlling the social aspect of it, while Philip is over on the other side of the room controlling the production. So you can, like he was saying, you can do a lot with that. Now, since we had a question, actually several questions about NDI, let's quickly talk about that.
Sure. So yeah, NDI. Do I need to explain what it is?
Just do a very brief, just a very brief overview of what NDI is, and then how it's integrated into vMix.
Yeah. So NDI stands for Network Device Interface, and basically it's a standard that's been created by NewTek to allow video transport over a local network. So instead of using your traditional like SDI or HDMI connection, or even using an IP stream or something like that, you can now use this standard to send video back and forth over the local network, just with a gigabit network. So you can send it via your local network using Ethernet cables and that type of thing. So it's allowing companies to create products to talk between computers, to send graphics like lower thirds, animated stuff, as well as live play out video from one computer to another, or cameras from one to another, and vice versa. So vMix has a pretty in-depth sort of NDI compatibility, where when they launched NDI, we had it day one alongside them, just because we wanted to make sure it was open for everybody to kind of connect. So you can go vMix to another vMix production on the local network, so you can be sharing cameras, sharing audio, replay, vMix calls, graphics, all that kind of stuff can be shared over a local network, which is super cool. And we found even people using, because it works with other encoders as well, people sending things from a TriCaster from one production to like another set where they've got vMix, and they're sharing sources back and forth. So yeah, it's a really cool way to be able to bring things over the network. And now they've kind of incorporated NDI into cameras and converters as well. So instead of using, I'm sorry, I'm looking at my cameras here, so that's what I'm looking at. So
we're over here.
because we've because we work with new tech, and I had Andrew Cross on the show, on our monthly show, and talked to him about that. And because we kind of work with these companies, thankfully we were able to get beta firmware upgrades for our cameras and stuff. So we have a Panasonic camera, we have PTZ Optics, we have a NewTek camera, and those are all NDI enabled. So we essentially have one cable that we plug into it, and then that's our everything for the camera. So that brings in the video source, it powers it, and it allows us to control it as well. So instead of having all this capture equipment and all this cabling and stuff all around the place, we can just plug in one cable into a switch, and then we're good to go. So that's pretty cool. So
that's huge.
Yeah,
and I think people will be starting to see
view of everything.
Thank you. People start to see NDI, more and more. A lot of our audience are, well, we have people who have never heard of NDI, and then people who are using it already. And so wherever you are, you just start with where you are. We can take it slow. If you're not ready to implement NDI, or that's confusing you, don't worry about it. We can take it one step at a time. Obviously, another one of the capabilities and the features of vMix is green screen, as you see. Tim is, of course, on a green screen at the moment.
Don't ruin the illusion.
Oh,
Why?
I'm so
Why
sorry.
did you ruin the illusion?
Oh, he's right here on set, right
anyway,
across here.
Yeah.
But yeah, and you got to make sure that you do green screen correctly and light it well. But it is a capability. And so then the other features, these are also my favorite features. Shortcuts and triggers are the best features, Amy says, inside of vMix, and I love these. So I want to talk about triggers and shortcuts. So I actually have, I'm going to show them this one. I have an X keys device, and so so this allows me to actually switch the show myself, which I don't do often, and so I usually screw it up when I do because I don't practice it enough. But I can switch the show myself, go from my computer screen to an interview to the PIP. You can see that. I can start and stop the stream. I can record. I mean, I can do all of the things from this little one device, and that's at my desk, and my computer can be way off to the other side of the room. So just tell me, or tell the audience, Tim, what that's all about, how shortcuts and triggers work, and then we'll dive into maybe some other options than X keys.
Yeah, so we've integrated a full we call them shortcuts. Other people call them things like hotkeys and whatever. But yeah, in vMix they're called shortcuts, and basically I think we're over 300 shortcuts now. So basically what you can do is you can assign a button on a keyboard or an X keys or a MIDI controller to perform a function. So like Laria said, you can start and stop the stream, you can switch cameras, you can press a button and have a dancing banana appear on your shoulder. Anything like that you can kind of program directly into your production. Now, I'm doing this by myself here today, so I can do things. I don't actually have I can show you what I've got here. So this is a thing of our green screen here. So that's just an example of what you can use a green screen. That's our office setup for our studio. I have a giant X keys here,
gosh.
so I have a baby X keys,
I'm feeling
and I have a giant one.
A little lacking over here.
Yeah, so I've got important things you probably can't see it all that well, but I've got a giant banana key here. That I can press and
there we go. That's what it does.
Use in the production stuff. So we have a giant one because we like to do a lot of ridiculous things. But yeah, that's kind of what I've got running just my show today. So if I press a button here, it should then fade back to our main shot, which is not that one, which is this one here. So I accidentally pressed the second key, which is my other shot here, to talk about marketing. You're always saying it's always be closing with your marketing. So I had my picture-in-picture set up like this as well. And I've got another button so I can transition back to my main shot. That's another button I've pressed. And then another button I've pressed here. I thought you were going to ask me some personal questions. So I wanted to have some personal things set up ready to go. But you didn't ask me those questions, so they're
NBA
here now.
All-Star. 5-time NBA All-Star.
Yeah,
who are we talking about?
That's right.
Here?
I know you didn't ask the question, so you didn't get the answer. But I've transitioned between all those just by pressing a button. So that's what we've integrated with the shortcuts. So press a button on a keyboard, just your regular computer keyboard. It's a really simple operation when setting up a shortcut. You go into the shortcut section, you press a button, and then you choose what you want it to do. There's a giant list. It's broken down into categories, and you can choose what you want it to do and give it a name and that type of thing. So that's shortcuts. Triggers is another thing that we have that allows you to... I always try and think of the best way to describe it, and I still haven't got it down to a proper description. So if someone's got a one sentence way to describe triggers, I'm all open to start using that.
I usually just say when you hit one button, a bunch of stuff can happen. So that's how I usually describe it. Like, so when you hit one button, you can have a series of events triggered to display on screen. How's that?
Yeah, I guess. But with shortcuts, you can also set up one button to perform multiple shortcuts too.
Oh.
So
that's not the difference.
You could
in
then
triggers.
Yeah, so yeah, it is kind of push a button to perform a series of events based on a function, but it's hard to explain, but
Philip
it's
says it's
easy
more
to show.
If this then that, maybe?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's more event based. Yeah.
Awesome.
So yeah, with triggers, basically what you can do is on an event, you can make the production do something. So say you have an intro video that you start for your production that does something, and then you want it to, when it finishes, you want it to transition to your main camera. So you're completely hands-free. All you do is press one button to start your intro, and then at the end of that particular intro video, fades to your main camera, turns on your microphone, overlays your lower third after 5 seconds, and then fades that off again. So you can do all of those different functions based on the fact that your intro video has finished. So you can kind of automate a lot of the process when it comes to doing your production. So that's the whole exciting thing about triggers, that you can kind of do a whole show with only pressing a handful of buttons. So if you want to do it by yourself, it's really easy to do.
And I think we had a comment earlier that this was the Anne said vMix is a must-have for those of us who are solo streamers, and I fully agree with that, because you can. That's why we love it so much, because so many of our audience are solo streamers that they have the capabilities to do and set it up whatever way they want. Now, I think you're a little bit in trouble now, Tim, because David's in the house. He says you are in his set. Okay.
I told him I was going to steal his Lego, and I dead set I'm going to do it today.
Okay.
I'm going to take that Slave 1 Lego home with me. So thanks, David.
It will be disappearing, David. Oh, yes. Okay, so you know what? I just saw a question. So Peter said, are you able to show us what vMix Social looks like? Peter, I will do that. I need a second to set it up because I don't have it open yet. I don't have the sharing screen open. But while I do that, Tim, why don't you give them, because I just realized I don't think we showed them vMix yet, did we? So that was on my plan to show them right up front. Can you share vMix and kind of walk them through the interface real quick? And then while I get my screen sharing up and I can show them social. How's that?
Sure.
Take it away.
Sounds good. All right. Yeah, so I didn't exactly plan to do this, but we will
I thought you had it set up.
Yeah, so this is the vMix interface. I probably should have set up a separate computer to send out the desktop and that type of stuff. But anyway, so this is the vMix interface.
Wait, hold on. Whatever you just did locked that up.
Okay.
You're frozen.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Bring it back to me while he fixes that.
Excuse me.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah, that's me.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, I thought about doing this before, and I should have set up something separate to do all this properly. So now you can see a picture of a picture of a picture type thing. But anyway, yeah. So this is the basic interface in regards to traditional video switches will have a preview area and an output area. A lot of people, well, not a lot of people, but some people say, I don't want a preview. I just want to send it live. But yeah, this has kind of been based on a traditional type switcher where you can always preview your shot or preview your video before going live. So that's how it is currently set up. And if you want to add an input or add something to it, you can just click the button down here. I probably got some weird stuff labeled in there, so I probably shouldn't click that. I didn't go through and delete all the stuff from my list. There's nothing bad there, but it's probably, I don't know what's going to appear in that first video list. So yeah, if you wanted to add an input, you basically click add input, and that will give you a giant list of all the stuff you can add. So cameras, videos, PowerPoint, titles, images, websites, vMix social stuff, instant replay, all that kind of stuff is available from that particular menu. And so on the left-hand side here, we have all your inputs. So as you can see, this is my amazing always be closing image here. So that's something I could bring into preview and transition across if I wanted to. This is my profile that I had ready to go, which Laria didn't ask about, which again was disappointing.
I'm so sorry.
This is
I just didn't know you were such a cool man.
Panasonic camera, as you can see here. You can go in and you can label them, so I can call them whatever I want in this section here. So I just call this Panasonic. With the PTZ cameras, I can actually control them as well directly from vMix. So I'm actually controlling this here from the interface that connects over the network. So that's another kind of feature that we have in vMix for controlling Panasonic, Sony, PTZ optics, cameras directly from the interface here. So each input has its own set of settings again. So like I said, you can choose the name, you can do color adjustments, that type of thing. A color key section, so if I wanted to create a green screen here, I can select a green, and then I can go through and create a green screen, which is what we've done for our actual backdrop here, but I'm going to remove that. So it's fairly simple to create a chroma key for your production. I can do all kinds of crazy things. I can move it around. I can resize it. All sorts of stuff, really simply. And then I can layer it. So each input can be layered with other inputs upon other inputs. So you can have an input on an input on an input on an input. So this is how you can go about and create your picture-in-picture and that type of thing. So I could go ahead and add my Marketing 101 picture, which is the side shot here, or I can add, what else have I got? Where's my camera? I should have worn my glasses, but I did not. So I can include this one here. Blind. So I can create a picture-in-picture. I can layer that 10 times over, and then I can create another one and add that 10 times layer onto another layer of another 10 times layer and all that kind of stuff. We have presets and that type of stuff as well.
Is what I'm referring to in terms of the full capabilities and the ability to expand, right? Like we always talk about the fact that you can, start with where you are and then you can keep expanding. Like he's shown you a lot of different stuff, but you don't have to get overwhelmed by that. But just know that as you grow as a live streamer and you start to do more and more, because eventually you probably will want to, because you're going to get hooked on live video, then you can add all of that extra stuff that he's showing, right? And you can do more and more with it, which is why you want to set yourself up to be able to expand and grow. So I have vMix Social up, so we can show that as well. So this is vMix Social. I mentioned, we have the ability to basically just see all the comments, and we are seeing both Facebook and YouTube. We did actually have YouTube in here. There we go. So you can see, YouTube and Facebook in this. Now let me show you how I throw a comment on screen. Barry says, and the amazing thing about all that multi-view stuff, it actually works. So yes, it actually works. That's the incredible thing. And then if I take a look at, maybe I want to add something to the queue. Okay, so this is a question that we want to answer, but it's not topical at the moment right this second. So I'm going to add it to queue. And then when I can view queue, I can see all the things that I've added.
It's always fun to say, isn't it? View queue.
View queue. I personally love saying it. So that's vMix Social. So that gives you an idea of how you can control things. And this actually works. I'm sure you have a lot of clients who, or customers who use this in a higher production with like people maybe a producer, moderating the comments, and only the host would see the queue itself. I'm sure you have a lot of customers that way.
Yeah, we have, yeah. On larger scale sort of things, you'll have, technical directors and producers and all that kind of stuff that are going through this sort of thing, and then the talent is really only ever going to see this final comment from Peter that's come up. So they're only reacting to that particular comment. And obviously the TD or the producer, whoever's looking after the particular commenting, will thoroughly vet everything that's coming through. So yeah, that's hopefully not going to cause any issues. So that's the one thing, like with the social, you can run it live.
Yeah.
But I would 110% recommend never trust the internet for commenting and that type of stuff. So yeah, always go through a queue situation or a moderation situation. That's definitely 100% of a recommendation from me.
You heard it here, guys.
So that's the way to go. And
never trust the internet.
yeah, the internet will probably get mad at me for saying that, but as a part of the internet, I wouldn't trust myself with comments that could appear live. Like we have, to go off topic, a lot of events do this. Like a lot of events throw up a hashtag, like say at a sporting event, and they try and get people from within the audience to participate, so that they throw their photo up on the screen from there. Like maybe they're at a big stadium, they can show their perspective, or they can take a photo of them and their friends and say, we're having a great time at wherever. A friend of mine, because friends of mine know that this is we make this software and we have this social media integration, and I've talked to them about them in the past, and a friend of mine said, oh hey, we're at this thing, this is the hashtag of the event. I don't have Twitter, but can you send something through? So I sent through a tweet. I wasn't even anywhere near the event, but I sent through a tweet and it ended up on the big screen. And my friend took a photo and sent it to me, and I'm like, that's awesome. So yeah, definitely moderate it, but yeah, it's great fun to have interaction with people and that sort of thing. And like Laria has on hers, you can automatically trigger it. So once you do approve a comment, you can send it straight to your production. So just by approving it, vMix knows that it goes into a particular overlay section, like down the bottom. They have theirs to slide in, and then yeah, you've got the content. So for a single person production that might just be looking off to the side for a comment, they click on it. They don't have to do anything else. They just approve it, and then it will trigger that overlay to come on, and it's there. Yeah. So that kind of simplifies it a little bit more.
Yeah, for sure. And it's customizable. I don't think we mentioned that actually. So it's customizable. So we created a graphic for that. So you have some basic options. But we customized it so that it's on brand with us, right? And so like this little like quote little thing, like that's not a vMix thing. That's Paul Dixon, our graphic designer, created that so that we have that little house for our comments. So you can do whatever's on brand for you, which I love because a lot of the softwares who allow comments, it's not customizable. So you want to answer that question about the banana? Did you even see it? It said,
sorry, I was not paying attention. I was paying attention to the technical, like you were at how you done your thing. I didn't actually look at the content.
That's
sorry.
Fine. He said, what's with the banana for a mascot?
Oh, he missed that question. We've already answered that one. So sorry about that.
Oh, there you go. Done.
No. There's no real reasoning behind it. Well, it's one of these things where you feel like you've got 10 different reasons behind it. You give out a fake story to each different person. There's no great reasoning behind it. It's a long, multi-level story, but suffice to say, we like having a mascot, and we decided on a banana. And I just find a lot of, I'm probably getting in trouble for saying this. A lot of stuff like, sorry, I'm just trying to find the right way to word this.
He's trying to be politically correct, I think. It's what's going on here.
I enjoy, we here enjoy doing things professionally, but also having fun, tongue in cheek,
yes.
Like just doing things a little bit that's not normal, because sometimes life is a lot more fun when it's not normal.
For sure. That's one of the things
that's why we have a banana.
we love about you is that
One
you
of the
guys
reasons.
do have fun, right? And so I got to show you something real quick because Tim doesn't even know this, guys. So we have a
Oh
community.
man, this is
So,
not good.
no, you're gonna love this. Our community, we have a private community for our group coaching, and for our
Yeah.
students. And so that's all on, on our website. And so we customize this. I think this was Paul Dixon or maybe Dave. David. I'm not sure. So this is one of our posts where Ken is introducing himself, right? And so he's got his picture, right? And I can go in and I can actually add a reaction with the dancing banana.
Oh, that's awesome.
So you actually see this as a reaction on most of the posts in our community is the dancing banana.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, so it's become
That's really cool.
quite the thing in our community as well. I just had to share that. And by the way,
That's
since
amazing. Well done.
thanks. Then since we're talking about this, I just want to point out, guys, that Tim and the entire group at vMix, it's not only that we love their software, but we love them as people, and they are just really good people. They care about you, their customers. They care deeply about getting you the things that you need. They care about you as people. And he was joking about his marketing picture and stuff. And honestly, like, I have told Tim, and hopefully, Tim, you don't mind me saying this. Do you? But
I have no idea what you're going to say,
Okay,
so
good.
sure. As long as you don't
It's
tell them
like-
about my Katy Perry obsession, then we're fine.
Oh, well, no, I was going to leave that off. That wasn't in your slide.
Okay, I appreciate
but-
that. Thanks.
So I have told them that they need to actually market. Like, they don't market themselves. They just do good work. They just put their great work out, and they are not, they don't love the whole marketing thing. And so that's probably why you haven't heard, if you're not around here, most people haven't heard of the name vMix, except that they have a large customer base. They have a very dedicated customer base. People who use them fall in love with them, not only for the software itself and the capabilities and the stability, but they're just their attitude as well. Like, they do have fun on their live streams. They do a monthly live stream where they talk about new features and things like that. And they're just damn good people. Just gotta say that. I just have to talk about that. And David says that you need to come back to Portland, and I fully agree. Okay. So, Tim, can we
Fair
talk
enough.
about pricing a little bit? So we had some questions so Sarah asked, what are the costs? Is it monthly?
I put my marketing thing back up for you,
Good
so
job.
so you can get an idea.
So talk to me about
We
the
have free
pricing.
shipping, so
Oh, nice, free shipping, fantastic.
absolutely. So yeah, we're workshopping that slogan for all your video mixing needs. We'll see how that goes. So basically, it's a once-off payment, and we kind of have different levels of what you might need for a production. So typically, like what we're doing today, we're doing like on your show, you're doing a stream out to, I think, Facebook, YouTube. You're recording it, and you are using HD. So you're using a 1080 production, I assume. So you're going 1080 to YouTube and then 720 to Facebook. Is that right?
I'm saying yes. I think so. Yes? Absolutely. Yes.
Cool. That sounds great. So basically, for what you're doing with all the stuff that you've got included, the titling and that type of stuff, it looks like so all that is the $350 version. So that's just vMix HD. So that allows you to do all this stuff. To bring in one guest. So if you were doing a show that you brought in an interviewer, then you can use that. And that's a once-off payment. We have free upgrades for 12 months. So if we upgrade to vMix 21, 22, whatever, within that 12 months, you can upgrade completely for free. There's no extra fees or costs or anything involved. And between you and me, we're pretty lax on that too. So that's how it is, unfortunately. Yeah, so that's it. So that's the HD version. Obviously, the higher up, the more stuff you want to include in a production, the higher it is. So we have a $700 version, which includes 4K, which allows you to do a lot of different stuff with that. It gives you another caller. It allows you to have PTZ control for cameras and that type of stuff, as well as an additional channel for instant replay and some more outputs via the NDI. And then the $1,200 version allows you to have a full 4-channel instant replay with live playback, event management, and all that kind of stuff that you'd want to use for a live sporting event or some sort of, maybe esports where you've got multiple things coming in. You want to be able to record them all time. So the instant replay will record all 4 sources. So it will be constantly recording every camera in HD. And then you've got your main shot, so you can create snippets of instant replay. And then you can switch to the instant replay. You can go back live without any issues. So everything's always recorded. So you've got like a full instant replay system there. So that's kind of the main thing with the $1,200 version. Plus you can have 8 vMix calls and 4K and a bunch of other stuff as well. So that's kind of the top tier of vMix.
We had some questions about sporting
so
events,
that's kind of
so
our,
hopefully that helps answer those questions. And John Thompson, thank you so much for posting the link to the comparison chart. We did have some questions about how you choose which version that you are getting. You definitely want to go to that comparison chart that John so nicely posted in the comments, and make sure that you check just the different things. Like he said, you can get this or you can get that, but you want to make sure that it relates to what you're trying to accomplish, right? And by the way, they said, or they allow you to do a free demo for is it 30 days?
It's 60 days, yeah.
See, okay, these guys need
almost
marketing. These guys need marketing help because, just joking.
Hey,
I love you
what is
for
wrong with this? Coming on the show, I'm making you some graphics with all of the information on it. It's even got the 60-day free trial, no watermark.
Oh, I didn't even read that. Yes, and that's the thing that I was going to point out is that there's no watermark. For 60 days, you can try it, and there's 0 watermark, which nobody else does that I'm aware of. Okay, I see more.
We figured that, We figured that we'd say, hey, we're of the belief that we don't really want unhappy customers. Like, we'd prefer, hey, we're completely open to the fact that it might not work for your particular situation or your equipment or something like that, So we'd prefer for people to fully try it out. The version is the Pro version, which includes the instant replay, 4K, all that stuff. It's our full version for literally 2 months, and if you're using it in February, it's even more than 2 months. So you've got 60 days to use it and try it all out and see how you go. So we just prefer to people to fully. We say do a live show every day. We don't care if you like it at the end, and if it works for you, that's great.
I love it.
So yeah, we have a lot of people that try it out beforehand, and that way, if they've got technical questions as well, they can say, I'm trying to do this. How do I do it? And if they've got the program, we can say, yep, go here, do this. And okay, cool, thanks. And so that's fully sorted. But I should mention we also have an SD version for those doing SD productions, and then it's a basic HD version, which is it's a really cut down version of vMix that has only a few inputs and 1 overlay channel. So for people that are doing a single camera that just want one title, or they want to use it as a streaming encoder or as a vMix social for HD and that type of stuff, it's kind of there for that. So yeah.
As Charles points out, is actually very good.
My full marketing spiel.
I like it. And so Kathleen says, yes, it is a fully functional demo. Now, I had to point this out because Guthrie News said, free shipping, can the program be downloaded? Yes, you missed the humor there. It is free shipping because it's downloadable. There is no shipping involved, actually. I've never once received anything from vMix in my mailbox, unfortunately. But
You would be surprised the amount of people that ask us how they get vMix. So
yeah. Oh, yeah?
That's an ode to them to say, hey, you download it from our website with a giant button that says download. So
Perfect.
yeah, it's all web-based. You know, go to the website if you want to try it out, purchase it, and all that. So that's that in regards to free shipping.
So make sure you download it. Now, I do want to tackle this one quick question, and then I want to talk to you about the interview system, vMix Call, because everybody's asking about it.
Sure.
So first and foremost, Guthrie
Okay.
News is also asking, can a powerful laptop run the vMix program? So here's the deal. They do have specs on their website. We also have a tech workshop that allows you to go through, and understand. We actually have recommended, they have recommended stats on or specs on their website, but we also have in this free tech workshop. It takes an hour to go through. You can actually learn, the computers that we recommend and the software and get information on cameras and audio and all of the stuff so that the tech can get out of your brain and you can just get going with live video. So if you want to take that, just type tech in the comments. Or if you're on YouTube, you can head on over to livestreamingpros.com/tech. So that'll take care of you there, but you'd also want to make sure that you check to make sure whatever computer you get has those recommended specs, or more than, right? Okay, so let's talk about vMix Call. So Roderick was asking, vMix calls, how does that work? You are being brought in via vMix Call, so what is that?
vMix Call is a way to create a video call connection to another user or another person. So, there's a lot of different, web conferencing and things like Skype and that sort of thing that you can use for video calls into a live show. But we found that managing different things with it can be pretty difficult. So, we created vMix Call to make the process a lot easier. So basically how it works is, if you, within your vMix interface, I could probably show you, let's throw this up. So within the vMix interface, you can see, where's your call down here? So the call is down the bottom here.
Hold on, we're not.
So yep,
we gotta
there you
give
are.
it a second to pull up. You went frozen back on, whenever you go to the computer, you're actually getting frozen.
Right, okay.
There we go.
Okay. So this is our desktop capture. We have the call down here, so I can see the connection, the latency, what they're sending me, and that kind of stuff. So we're all connected. I probably shouldn't have said that because now someone's going to try and call in on that number. So apologies for that. So please don't call in on that number. So yeah, if I wanted to add a call, I can just go to this section here. There's a video call section down the bottom, and you can give your guest this password, and then they can call into the live show. So if I drop out and someone tries to use that other number, my apologies. So I can then choose what sort of feed I want to send them. So I can send them my output, which is going to be what I'm producing in vMix, or I can choose to set up a different type of output to them, whether it's just my camera or whether it's a specific part of the show. I can then send that to them. So I can also choose to decide what bandwidth I send them as well. And then when they connect, it's variable rate. So they've got a really good internet connection. If they're calling from their computer, then they can send 720 video through. So how it works is you can give them this link, and then they load that up in a browser. So preferably something like Chrome or something, the latest version of Chrome or Firefox. They put that into their address bar, and then it will load up a screen similar to what you see in Skype. So it will be the return video feed, and then the browser will connect their webcam and microphone, and then it will send that through to vMix. So then in vMix, you can start managing their call and their video and audio just like you would a camera source or a video source. So you can put them picture in picture, or you can display me like I am now. So this is me sending it from vMix to them, and then they're across the other side of the world will slash in the same studio as them. So that's basically how it works. So if you have an actual interviewee, you give them that link, they load it up in a browser, they put in their name, the password's already filled in, and they connect. And then you can just start using it like a normal source. So vMix handles all of the audio, which was a bit of a a mission to get sorted with other programs because of the way that the audio works is that you don't want to be hearing yourself looped back. So when I say something, I don't want to hear my audio back to me. And that is, if you've ever dealt with that, that is really off-putting. So we've included the ability, well, it's already built into it. So I'm not hearing myself back. So it's great to be able to actually have a normal conversation with someone. So
yeah,
so that's already,
I've literally had to
that's how it's set
do
up.
entire like CEO interviews and stuff like that on some higher end productions where I had that issue. Like to ignore yourself while talking and asking intelligent questions and stuff like that, it's hard. You don't want to have to deal with that. So a huge props for getting that one figured out.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, yeah, and I don't like the sound of my own voice. I don't know about you, but like when you go back and watch videos you're in, you're just
Yeah.
like, man, why do people have to sit through listening to that? That's not great. So
At this point, I just
yeah,
I
so
just
that's how it's
ignore
set
it.
up. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So it's fairly simple to set up. And just one quick.
Yeah.
Sorry, I need to jump in, but today we're going vMix to vMix. So if you've got vMix and someone else has vMix, you can actually connect at 1080. So we can send a full 1080 because we're going vMix to vMix directly. If it's going through a browser, 720 is the max that you can send from a browser, but you can go vMix to vMix at a much higher quality.
Awesome.
And I think it's only I mean, our internet here is all right, so it's been fairly good so far. So
Yeah. No, I know Barry had asked a question because I actually tried to bring Barry Friedman in, and we were getting like, I don't know, we did something weird, but when he was connecting through his vMix for an interview we did with him recently, I saw like bars, like color bars or something. So I don't know what he did on his end or what, but we can get that figured out, Barry. So because it actually works very smoothly for everybody else. So something on Barry's end is doing that, but we will take care of that. So Mary said, do you have headphones on? Yes, Mary, I am wearing headphones. You can see that. So I actually route my headphones down the back so that you don't see them. And he's wearing headphones
Fancy.
as well, aren't you?
yeah, well, the thing is, like, I really don't like wearing headphones. So in our studio, if we turn down we have two big monitors here. If we turn down the audio enough, we can still hear the guest, and we don't get any spill back through the microphone. But we found that some people on the other end have the audio cranked up way too high, so they can hear themselves, or you might have a producer and it's looping back for them. But typically when we do on our monthly live show, when we bring people in, we don't wear earphones. We just run it straight from the TV, and there's no spill back on the microphone. So as long as everybody's audio is not blaring, you can do it without earphones. I just put the earphone in this morning because I didn't want to have to tell your producer to turn down if it's too loud. So yeah, you can totally do it without. Yeah, as long as you've got a good mic as well, so there's no like additional spill and stuff coming through. These are pretty good like audio microphones that cut down any additional noise. So
yeah, we were talking about that earlier. You said you're using which ones?
DPA.
And then you have also used some Samsons, not Samsung, but Samson. Okay.
Yeah.
Another quick question that came through, and we're not getting to all of them. I apologize, but Veronica said you're fine. Told a newbie here, but do you guys use vMix for webinars? And I just really want to quickly answer that because yes, we do. So some of you who have been around us, you know very well that we run webinars when we do launches, and we hit 34% conversion rate on average and consistently. And so the reason that I mention this is because we are using our level 4 vMix software for our webinars in order to accomplish something that looks like this, where we have the pip and we can come back and forth between my video, full screen, the slide full screen, the pip, and it is a very engaging way to do webinars. And it kind of looks like what we're doing here, doesn't it? It feels very much like a regular live stream where we're just having a conversation. And so For those of you who run webinars and do launches, this is a very powerful system, and you can't, you do need, some of this. You need the vMix software. You can do it. It's pretty clunky on level 3, but this is why we would love to see you upgrade into a level 4 setup using vMix, so that you can accomplish even more in your business and you can run those webinars in a more engaging way. I believe that we have hit those 34% conversion rates because it is more engaging, because it's more conversational. And anyway, I just went off on a rant there. Sorry, Tim. But yes. Okay. So, is there anything I missed, Tim? Is there anything that's really important to make sure that people understand as well about capabilities? I mean, I think we've covered the gamut here.
Yeah, you probably covered most of the stuff, I would say. I don't really know what else you would want to add.
Okay.
I mean,
Fair
it's,
enough.
yeah, it's just a matter of like, to me, it's about personalizing things for the way you want to do it and your situation. Um, like you've created here, this is just uh, like a Photoshop. You've just created the image for the boxes, and you've just done this yourself. So I mean, some people might like, oh, I want a specific template and that type of stuff. But I'd prefer people get a little bit creative and create their own boxes and create their own lower thirds and that type of thing. It's not too difficult to do. Like even if you've got a free image editing program, it'll allow you to put a box here, and then you can use our title designer to add where you want to put your text and that type of thing. So I enjoy like seeing the different ways that people use stuff and how they integrate the titling and graphics and picture-in-picture and everything. So I think do it at your own pace and design it exactly how you want. And I think that it kind of adds that level of professionalism to the stream if you can kind of make it your own. And then you can own it.
100%.
And like you say, people get nervous when they do it, but if everything in the show, you've created it, you can stand behind it and say, hey, this is what I'm doing. And I think people appreciate that. So
Yeah, I fully agree with that. And I would add to that just one thing, which is if you're not a designer or if you're not very good at graphics yourself, that's why we hire Paul Dixon, because Paul Dixon is amazing and he takes care of us looking professional and great. If I tried to do it, nobody would watch us. Right? And so, if that's not your strong suit, that's okay. But, make sure that you reach out to somebody, but Canva, you can also create on Canva and stuff as well. But I love what you said there, Tim. Make sure that you kind of make it your own. Okay. So,
yeah,
we had, okay, one more question, because this has come up a few times, so I'm just going to tackle this real quick, and then I have to let him go.
sure.
But Bob says, plans for remotes to start smartphones.
Remotes for smartphones in
I think he might
like
be asking,
being able
like,
to
if, control maybe, or, well, the answer either way, I guess. A few people have asked about, so we can actually, I can actually use my phone as a camera. So that's one thing.
Yeah, there's different apps that you can use. Like there's an NDI app, so you can actually connect to your production using your phone. Like there's a New Tech have an app that allows you to send in a camera from your mobile. You can send that around. There's other different RTSP type based things that you can send from a phone as well. They don't work that great. But yeah, so I mean, yeah, that's an option. But yeah, if they're asking for actual camera control and production control, you can do that with vMix as well. So we have it's called the web controller. So basically, you've got a web-based interface where you can control the entire production. So you'll see everything. We don't have any videos like for preview and output, but it'll say video 1, title T1, that type of stuff is lined up with the production. Then you can press it to send it to preview and output. You can control your titling from it as well. So you could have somebody sitting on an iPad or a phone changing the title for a production, and some other stuff as well. So yeah, you can control vMix from any browser-based device that's on the same local network.
Okay.
So that's a possibility.
So we're answering like all the possibilities when it comes to smartphones here. But Bob clarified, what about like vMix call? Essentially, so vMix call on mobile is I think where he's going with that.
Yeah, so if you've got iOS 11, works with Safari now, and it works with like the latest version of Chrome on Android, and I think the latest version of Firefox on Android as well. So yeah, you can have somebody like out in the field, or if somebody doesn't have a computer, you can, as long as you can load up like a Chrome browser on their Android device, then you can use that to connect. It'll be a lot smaller, obviously, than a normal computer screen, but yeah, you can use that to have somebody call into a show as well.
Fantastic. All right. Well, I have to let him go. He has a busy day ahead of him. But thank you so much.
I don't really. If anybody's got any more questions, I'm available.
Oh yeah.
I told him I'm not doing any work today, so
Nice.
feel free.
Hey, Philip, how are you doing on time? Oh, he's late. Okay, so Philip is late.
Okay.
So we are gonna have to wrap this up, unfortunately. But we'll keep answering questions. I know we didn't get access. We didn't answer all the possible questions that came through, but I'll try and get in there and answer them through comments after the fact as well. Somebody did ask, how do they reach you? How do they, hang out with you and talk to you and get support?
They can contact us directly through our website. We have a contact form on there that will come through to us if they've got any questions about anything really. You can send through a support request, just asking specific questions, whether that's about equipment, whether it's about your setup, what you should do, all that kind of stuff. And the email address is also on that page as well if you want to just shoot through an email. Any technical questions, feel free to use that as well. If you're having an issue or you're trying to do a specific thing, you can send through with your particular key, like your registration key, so we know who you are. And you can also send through a full report from vMix as well in the settings section, so we can have a look to see what you're using and how you may be able to do a certain thing in your production. We have a forum as well. There's tons of stuff in our forum, including hardware capabilities. Things like feature requests, if you've got some sort of burning feature request or you want to add your support to a feature. And we have a YouTube page if you want to listen to my voice even more than today, if you would want to. I don't know why, but plenty of tutorials on our YouTube page on getting started, right from how to install it to advanced audio routing and that type of stuff. So yeah, there's tons of videos on there. We have a Facebook page. It's vMix HD for Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And yeah,
Pretty
that's
much
basically
anything
that's
you
it.
could possibly want.
I think I'm done for the marketing for today. So yeah,
so you guys,
that's about that.
Definitely. They have amazing tutorials for sure. And in that tech workshop, we actually, David actually goes through, some overview in terms of graphics as well. And so if you guys want to get the tech out of the way, you want to learn, more about vMix, definitely take that tech workshop, get yourself started with cameras, audios, and all of that. Type tech in the comments to grab access to that. It just takes an hour, so it's not a big time commitment. And then I also want you to head on over to vmix.com and try this software. It is powerful, it's impactful. All of our students freaking love it. Like, once we get you on vMix, you are sold for life. What?
Can I say one last thing?
Yeah.
Is that all right? For people that are starting out in live video and that type of thing, like it can be a little bit scary, and you see people that, have 8 cameras and they have a lot of equipment and that type of stuff. But I always tell people, like, if you watch any of our equipment videos, I say, look, borrow, a lot of people have really good cameras sitting in their cupboard, borrow a camera. If it's got a HDMI live feed out, and get a cheap USB dongle, that's on our recommended page, and then you can start using really good quality as opposed to using a webcam. You can graduate up that way. So a lot of people just don't realize the kind of equipment that you could utilize, even secondhand and that type of stuff. So yeah, that's kind of my parting words as to people that are starting out. You don't need to jump head first into this kind of stuff. You can very easily work your way up and kind of learn as you go. And I think that's half the fun of doing live video, as I'm sure you probably experienced over the years.
100%. Great advice. Great parting words from Tim. And I really, really appreciate you coming on and spending some time with us. Some people asked about updates or new announcements. You guys should definitely pay attention to NAB coming up, and make sure that you're paying attention to what vMix has got for you in the near future. Hopefully. Not that I know anything. Thank you so much, Tim.
No, that's all right. I mean, if we want to come on after NAB, I can maybe talk about stuff that may or may not happen. So,
that
yeah.
would be that may or may not be really great. Thank you. All right, so we're going to wrap this up. Again, thank you so much for spending time with us. Tim, one final goodbye. Both of us on screen. Bye!
See you later.